Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode here on the Hermitcraft Amplified server. We're going to be working once again here in the base, and what I need all of you to do is leave a little feedback and let me know if you've been enjoying these base episodes down below with a comment. I feel like we spend a lot of time over here, and you know what, I'm absolutely loving it. I'm really enjoying it. Always want to move on to the next thing inside the base and keep it expanding and growing. And yeah, there may be an opportunity coming up to have a break from this place, so I kind of thought I'd get some feedback from you guys and see how you're liking the base. If you want to see me do other things, of course, let me know, and then in the future we might reprioritize what we're doing here a little bit and take a break and do some new projects elsewhere. But for this episode we have a plan. If you saw the last one, we set up our pumpkin and melon towers. Yep. In my brain I was thinking melon and pumpkin and I said it the other way around. That confused me. And we're probably going to have more farms in the future that deliver items to these rows right here. So one of the things that I do want to develop is a little system around the back here, kind of like what we did with the bone meal, where we can unload some of the items in these chests into a different sort of storage system and then deliver them down to where we're trading with the villagers, which should be pretty interesting. But before we do any of that, there is something that I've been meaning to fix for a long time, and we found a solution to this in a live stream, and then it just going to pass me by and I forgot to go and fix this thing. So we're going to pop down here and do this first thing this episode. We're of course talking about the furnace system over here. So what we discovered is that this row of blocks that are powered are locking the hoppers down below that have the fuel in them. And because we're now using sticks, not enough fuel gets into the furnaces. And the solution for this, at first I was thinking it's going to be really difficult because we've got all of this redstone sort of in the area getting in the way. And actually we're going to be able to keep all of these furnaces in the same place. What we need to do is raise all of this up by one block, and then it's not going to lock the hoppers, which means all of this right here has to go up by one block. If you have a look, there is space for it. However, we got some hoppers over here that are in the way. What we can simply do is reroute them around the edge here. So they're going to loop round the ends, they're going to go back to that one right there, and then all of our furnaces and hoppers here can raise up by one block. Which does mean we're going to have hoppers stacked on one another, which could cause a little bit of an issue. I'm going to have to think twice about that. Maybe what we'll do is have some droppers or something here. That wouldn't work either because we'd be powering them with blocks. Aha, so I thought I had the solution and maybe not. Either way, that's what we're going to be doing first of all. Our priority is to fix this thing because it's been broken for too long. So let's see if I can do that. So I just put in a stack of cobble and we got 56 back. Now we figured this one out a while ago, why there's always 8 left behind. I think they come back around again the next time. So if I'm to put in another stack of cobble, 8 gets stuck somewhere in there down below. Maybe something is being powered. I can't quite remember. I sussed that one out. So maybe there is one more problem here to fix. And this turned out to be a little bit more awkward than I thought it would because we had to raise it up by 2. And I was about to say, why is that going back and forth? But of course we just put some new blocks to be smelted in. So let's make a little walkway up here. So what is what right here? That's some furnaces. Yes, I've just put them on top of these ones because apparently furnaces on top of open hoppers will slow it down a little bit. So that should be doing that. You can see our furnace down the bottom there. So because we were going to have this raised up by 1, it means that the hoppers would have simply just pulled out from the hoppers here that are locked by these blocks. So what we had to do is add in an extra row of droppers for those items to go through, and now it all works just fine. So all of this got to get sounds odd, got raised over on this side. So now it comes across here, the item sets off the comparator, which activates this down the bottom and unpowers this for a moment. So then it drops into the hopper down below, which puts it into the dropper. So that's the way that it's working at the moment. So that's fixed. We don't have to worry about it, although I do need to figure out or remember what exactly was up with those 8 blocks going missing. Because there's no redstone down the bottom here, so it doesn't quite make sense. But I'm guessing that perhaps actually if you put in a whole stack, then only 7 makes its way into each of these furnaces and it gets stuck somewhere else. Can we even see that in action? I don't think we can. Yeah, so still a bit of a mystery with that. But either way, that's done. Let's move on to the thing that I talked about earlier. We're going back to doing all the villager trading stuff, and we're going to start off by making a little system over here to move the items that end up in these chests down to our trading area down below. So this is looking pretty great. It is taking up a fair bit of space around here, but you know, we've got enough space down below. I think we're going to be able to build the system for redistributing these items with no problems at all. But basically what I've done is tiled the delivery system, because I discussed this in a live stream. Can't remember if I did in a video, but we got plans for the future to use the villagers to make some more automated farms, and to do one for carrots, potatoes, then wheat, or possibly bread if they craft it for you, and then last of all beetroots in 1.9. So it just so happens that all of the things right here are going to be traded with the villagers, because of course we've got melons and pumpkins, and then over here we've got sugarcane as well. I am a little bit disappointed with this. The idea was that something that produces sugarcane slow over a long time would actually, you know, create a large amount, but it hasn't sort of worked out like that, because we're using a lot more than I thought we would. But that's worked out really nice to have them all here together, so then we can just use all of these hoppers at the bottom, or maybe even the chest in front of them, to then take items out and move them down to the area down below, and we've got a small space to work with right there. But this thing works out pretty well, so when we have those farms set up in the future, it just means we can hook them up to these tracks. So once again, just delivering things with minecarts over to this part of the base, and then moving them to another one after as well. It's going to be a real fun project, but now we can focus on the main bit, which is going to go down here. So another reminder here of how much of a tight squeeze our base is, because that right down there is the top of the library area. So where we have the last row of our storage here, and one block over are the pistons down here. Now I don't think we're going to have too much redstone down here. In fact, I'm not really sure at the moment how we're going to move these items around, but this has been a reminder of where they're going to. So we can sort of bring them down here and across, and then over in this space where these yellow blocks are where I want them to be replaced with some chests that you can open up and access, because on the other side we've got all of the villagers. So you know, that would make a lot of sense. Just walk over to the chest, grab the things that you need to trade with. It's kind of like the perfect location. As I say that though, it seems like it's a little bit silly to bring it across this side. Perhaps if we went over to this side here it would be fine, although most of our villagers will be down that end most of the time. Thing is, if we send them over here, we can pretty much keep it in a straight line, right? Like, what if we used minecarts yet again, and over here we maybe put some hoppers under the chests and then some minecarts down below so we can send them off on their way. There should be enough space to kind of wire something up with that. We might come a little close to this. But then if we send them in a straight line across like this, they're eventually just going to go down to one of the points right here, and then that means in this little space we can put the chests and some sort of unloading system. That sounds like the way we might actually go about doing things. That'll make it a lot simpler. It'll be simply a tileable design from top to end, where we have, you know, the unloader at this end, the minecarts go across and down to an unloader at that end as well. Yeah, because we're unloading from this chest and then unloading into the next one. I think that's the way we're probably going to do it, actually. That sounds like a reasonable idea. So, a little update. I want to bring you up to speed on what's going on here, because it's turned out to be extremely tough. And I don't want to sound like a broken record, but you're going to hear me say this over and over again when we talk about all this work we're doing with the minecarts. You really do have to think about how it's all hooked up with the redstone at either end, because you've got to manage the flow of items. So, for example, you know, the minecart chest comes up here. We could have a hopper pointing into it. And then how do we determine when to power the rail, because the minecart chest might get filled up, or the hopper above it might be filled up, and all of that stuff has made it difficult. And even in finding solutions, I've then found out that the space down here really makes it way too much of a squeeze. The main problem being that the smallest and most compact I can make a system that works means that a block right here will be budded and, sorry, it'll be powered, and then this block right here will be bud powered. And I can't avoid it. I can't avoid there being some sort of issue like that, which is really unfortunate. But then it kind of hit me that hopper minecarts might come into play. So straight away I thought about just having the hopper minecart under here, and we're doing this manually. So when it goes down to the other end and empties its items, it sends them back up here, and then what we could do is power this block on the other side manually to send it on its way, because it would sit there taking items from above, right? But that doesn't seem too glamorous, and as well as that, connecting these rails together is going to be really awkward because they connect like that. So we're going to have to rip out all of these blocks here, and I'm not sure if that's the solution that we're going to go with here, but it does feel like it's pointing in the direction of something that isn't going to be fully automated. But I think I'm going to spend just a little bit more time trying to fully explore all of the possibilities before we settle on something. So it started out as such a simple idea and quickly expands into an impressively large project in some regards, at least loads and loads of materials going into this, all of these powered rails over here. So when we remove these rails right here, we'll have blocks with buttons on the other side. I've decided what we'll do is we'll walk over, and if we see there's loads of materials in the chest at the bottom, then we know it's quite likely there's a hopper sitting there waiting to go to the other side. So we press a button, send it off on its way, and the reason that these powered rails stretch out so much is because of these pistons on the side. I want to have all of these in a row like so, and it makes it awkward to power the one on the other side. Now what I could have done, and I don't have a redstone block on me, is just put one like here to power the rail in a middle point, but you know, I like everything to be kind of neat and tiled alongside each other. So anyway, let's go down here, because I started building all of this and then realised that the thing itself is actually probably going to be a little bit higher, and it's going to be quite awkward to build as well. But this is what's going to look like on the other side. If you don't fall in, you'll just have some chests in a row like that. I'm not sure I can really guarantee that the materials behind it are going to be yellow blocks to kind of cover that up. But anyway, I think what we need is that there, and then a slab behind it like so. And the rails have come down way too much here, because we actually need to drop in these items from up above. So the way that we're going to do this is with a comparator on top of that slab, which I didn't pick out. Where are my comparators? There they are. So we'll have a comparator right here. That's going to point into a block that's going to take the signal upwards. And again, space constraints here mean we can't push this forward a block, because, well, actually, yes, we could move it forward a block. But due to the way that I've now designed it, we're going to stick with this right here, because behind here we're going to have a hopper and a chest like so, and then that comparator is going to talk to this one right here. And on top of there is where our rail is going to go to. And I keep pressing spacebar to jump, and nothing was happening then. Anyway, so we'll have a block there with a redstone torch on top of it. That's going to go into another block, and I always like to use a block that we can distinguish from the regular terrain, so that we know it's our own if ever we go digging. We see an iron block, we know, hey, that's something, so that's always a smart idea. And let's clear out a bit more here, just so I can place a repeater on top of this. So that's going to send the signal backwards, and this design is going to be tileable as well now. Can we click on that right there? We can. And then we can put our powered rail on top of this hopper. So when it comes along and starts unloading items, they go into this chest. We've got this system right here to detect when there's no items left, and then it'll send it back. And that's how we're going to get the items down into the chest right here. So now what I've got to do is rip all of this up that I built a moment ago, because this track is actually going to go straight across pretty much, and it's only going to drop down by one block. So there we go, that's the design. And hopefully I can build this thing, and hopefully it'll work just fine. Okay, this is not intended behavior right here. Look at that. That is a ridiculous speed. I don't know how it's pulling that off. That one is not full, so therefore it's not taking anything from above. This one over here, oh yeah, the sugarcane is only in the top chest at the moment. But that is bizarre. How is it taking them so fast? I've never seen that before. That's really cool. And if we go around the front and press the buttons on the other side, obviously we'll send them down to the bottom. Some have already come over here and delivered some items. So that thing is now kind of finished in some regards. I don't think I want to go back and tweak it again. What would be wise to do is to put some item frames on here to indicate what each of them are, and probably some yellow clay around here as well. As you can see, you can sort of look between the gaps of the chests, and that always looks a little bit untidy. Yeah, so we'll put some more blocks back there, and then next thing to do, probably to continue working on this and expand it all the way down to the end there. So this is what the room is going to look like. There are absolutely tons of places for trading right here. Of course, we've got more work to do. Just realised I haven't placed buttons down over here as well, so that's something else that I'll put in. But the way that this has been built, we have a path that comes out from this room, and we're going to build a mirrored room on the opposite side, and on that one we'll put in some villagers with good trades in like permanent positions, I think is the plan. So the other side of the room ends in line with that. And then down here are where our chests are. It's a little bit of a shame it wasn't on the other side, but that's just the way that things have worked out. As, you know, our paper chest is here, and it's the furthest away from our villagers at the front. And yes, it's sugarcane, but we'd craft it into paper. So we'll probably need like a crafting bench in the ceiling somewhere as well. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so that's the like exit. This will go straight down to the room that'll be over here in this corner, and we'll put some villagers to do trading in. So there's more to do with this. Like, we've got to figure out And what happens to the villagers when we're done with them? There's going to be a water chute down here to get rid of them, but also want to keep some as well. So what we'll probably do is be able to press a button, the villagers go down into the water stream, and then when they're over here we can deal with them later and potentially move them into a permanent spot inside our little trading areas. So all of that's going to be good fun. For now, what I want to do is focus on this thing over here because it's horrendous, and I've had tons and tons of tweets from people, loads and loads of designs, and there's been like a handful of ones that are really good that I've been contemplating. And then today I got a tweet for one that used water, and I really liked it. It was one of the ideas that I was sort of thinking about, and I remember Red Eyes on the last Hermitcraft World made a system where the water like flowed in from the back and it sort of went around the enchanting table to lower the levels. Well, this design is going to have water coming down from the ceiling, so I'm going to sort of recreate the design that was sent to me, and I'm going to make it a little bit different in places as well, and hopefully we can make this thing look good, because this was, like I said, absolutely horrendous. What was I thinking? So, talk about a squeeze. Once again, we are fitting in all of the redstone in between other little bits and bobs in the area, and we're just about pulling this thing off. So I want to say a big thank you to Toad Bunny for sharing this with me. I'll put a link to their video in the description box if you want to see it. What we're doing here is very, very similar. In their design, they had 5 bits of water that went around here that dropped down from the ceiling. And in my design, I've sort of taken what they've done and made it work with 7. And after doing that, I realised that doesn't actually block any of the bookshelves. So, at least for these 2 spots here and here, it won't do any of that, which is a little bit odd. But I thought, hey, do you know what? I'm just going to go with it, because then basically most of the turns that you do on this... And actually, this thing's ready for a test. There goes the water. This is the first time that I'm doing this. And by the way, all of that up there was ice a moment ago, so... it might still be ice in 1 or 2 places. Yeah, there you go. That one's ice. That explains that. Oh, and if it melts now and it doesn't have a block underneath it, it'll disappear, and that'll be an absolute pain. And I think it's actually gone and done that. Has note, the ice is still there. Ah, oh no, I placed a torch on it rather than right-clicking it. There goes the last one. Amazing. Quick, let's one more, and then bam, it closes. Let's shut all of that off so the ice can melt. Yeah, so that's the way it's going to work, and I really like that. It's cool. It's a little bit over the top, and to tidy up the rest of this room, we got to fill in this bit right here. And then I'm thinking in the background there, it feels like there maybe should be more bookshelves or just something to add a little bit of depth. So I am going to think about that. Also, that really needs to be a sea lantern. Let's do that now, or I forget. There we go. Cool. And so this is how we transfer the signal around. And it turns out that moving a redstone signal upwards when you're trying to keep the signal strength is a little bit tricky and difficult to do in a compact way. So it sort of just goes around like this, and this is where we start encountering other bits and bobs that need rewiring. So, or rewiring? I don't know, you know, whatever. We need to redo it. There we go. So these tracks over here need to go around the back. That's absolutely fine. When I came over here, I found out that we actually have some rails just going right above here. And if you look at the way the redstone is there, it's got a redstone block either side of it. I just managed to squeeze everything into the right position. So obviously I'll patch that up and patch this rail up as well. So there's just delivery rails going all over the place. Anyway, let's go in here and have a look at the redstone. In fact, we want to start from the opposite side. This thing is a little tricky to navigate around. You've got to walk all the way around like this. So the redstone signal comes up here and it goes to there. Why did that work a moment ago but not now? If there's no something or other there. That doesn't make any sense. That worked a moment ago. Right. Oh, perhaps I never placed that there and there's something wrong with this. I think the signal strength here is supposed to decay by 1 and over there by 2. I probably made a bit of a mistake with the wiring here. Okay, my mistake. I've got to redo some of this. Anyway, the idea is that we manipulate the signal strength, so each time it goes down by 1, it travels further around the whole circuit. So this would be the first one to control that piston. Then we got our second 3. Then here we let it go down by 1, so it goes into a comparator, through the block, onto that redstone on the other side, so it's going to have the same signal strength as that. Then it gets picked up by this comparator, goes through these ones, and so this bit here is the same as that one there. So that will, you know, activate this piston, and then it's the same deal again. This signal strength here is maintained all the way over to this one. So that's how switching around the item frame one by one will take it down. So I've got a couple more bits to do. Got to fix this, got to tidy up the room, and then that's going to be this project finished for now. Okay, we are all done, fully tested. The wiring is finished. I had to redo a couple of bits, and I've sorted out all the rails up above. this thing is done. That's another part of this base finished right here. I love it. It's coming together really well. And if you have any suggestions, by the way, for details you think would look cool in this room, please do leave them down below. I feel like it's a little bit empty. There needs to be something there in the background, maybe just a couple of details to kind of finish off the room. But that is our little enchanting room. We need to put some anvils in there as well. Yes, definitely need to put some anvils in there. But that's going to be it from me at this episode. If you have enjoyed it, please do leave a like. And yeah, that's about it. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.